priorities have been changed. I think it's just a thought.
Please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moines County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Are there any changes to the tentative agenda? Meet with department heads and elected officials. Sarah Doty, Des Moines County Auditor.
Good morning. Just working on payroll this week and getting things caught up from being gone last week, so nothing new to report this time.
Colin Gerst, IT.
Good morning. Nothing really new to report, just keeping busy like always.
Thanks, Colin.
Yep.
Kevin Glendenny, Des Moines County Sheriff.
Good morning. Attended the North Des Moines County Rural Fire District meeting last night. That was interesting and educational. They have an annual meeting where they set their budget and all the township trustees get together. That's the fire district more known as Mediapolis, but it's actually ran by the townships, and Mediapolis contracts with the townships. So just met with them about the 911 project and where we're at on that. But good meeting. Have a couple public hearings this week for the 911 board and then EMA. And other than that, things are going really well. At the jail, we're at 83 adults this morning. 13 of those are out of county, plus 3 juveniles. We have several heading out this week, but unfortunately we have several coming back.
Where do they come back from?
We have one in Chicago, one from Missouri, just out of county warrants, or out of county pickups that they got picked up on local warrants, so. We have at least 3 that we have scheduled to go pick up, and 2 of them are getting picked up today, so. Just the nature of the business.
Thanks,
But you
Sheriff.
can't hide.
Thanks, Sheriff. Rodney, Police and Maintenance.
Good morning. Nothing new this morning. Thank you.
Jared Lassiter, Land Use.
Same thing here, pretty much nothing new to report, just have one item on the agenda.
Chris Sweet, Conservation.
2 things for you today. Well, no, yeah, the first one. We cleared our floodplain permitting issue with Stars Cave, so we're up and rolling on that, which is good. Appreciate Jared's help on that. And then we do have a couple positions listed online, our summer intern positions, and then our permanent part-time positions that we've had vacant for a while. We've got those relisted online, so anybody wants to come work for conservation over the summer or seasonally or part-time for a while, hit us up.
Thanks, Chris. Janelle Nellie Longquist, Moines County Treasurer.
Good morning. We're just keeping busy, nothing new to report.
We're gonna get busy in about a month.
Oh, yeah. They're trickling in a little bit now, but yeah, it'll be a lot heavier next month.
Thanks, Janelle.
Mhm.
Ken Hyman, Mahasi.
Yes. The Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa met again last week. And I guess the one thing I would share with you today is what Brian gave us, the summary of the bill that is gonna affect behavioral health. So I'll just give you her summary. She talks with Health and Human Services and with the CEOs. She has a better grasp on it than I do, to be honest with you. I'm not on the legislative review committee or anything, but we spent a lot of time last week, both in the morning session for stakeholders group and in the afternoon session with governing board, just talking about different aspects of this bill, and there's a lot more that will be coming on it. You know, there's just so many things that we're speculating at this point because we don't know all the details, but that's what I know so far, so I just thought I'd give you that.
Thank you, Ken.
Uh-huh.
Gonna change, we're just not sure how.
Yeah. We hope it's all for the good, you know, putting mental health, behavioral health with substance abuse sounds like a great idea that's needed to happen for a long time. That part of it makes sense, so. It's just
depends on how they do it.
how they do it, yeah. all the details of it, so.
Thanks again. Shannon Pradle, emergency management.
So I've been harping for weeks, tonight is the night, it's our weather spotter course. So if you do have social media, if you could share it, from our page. We are trying to get the word out as much as possible. It looks like it's gonna be a good night for it. So Capitol Theater, 6 to 8 p.m. is the severe weather spotter course with the National Weather Service.
Thanks, Shannon. Krista Pogan, Public Health.
Good morning. We're keeping busy. We did receive some new COVID-19 isolation guidance from Iowa Department of Public Health. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it, that way I make sure I don't miss anything. The landscape of COVID-19 has transformed significantly since its onset, with substantial immunity developed through the natural infection and or vaccination alongside with advancements in available treatment options for infected people. These developments have contributed to a decrease in hospitalization and mortality rates than prior winter seasons during the pandemic. Given these changes, there was a need to revise isolation guidelines to reflect the current understanding of the virus's transmission and impact. The shift in guidance acknowledges that COVID-19 has still the potential to cause serious disease, but also aims to minimize the disruptive nature impact of isolation in schools and workplaces. COVID-19 infections can be mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic, and many people are no longer testing or now aware of their infection if they have it. A symptom-based approach is consistent with other viral respiratory infection recommendations. This change provides for unified exclusion criteria based on the individual respiratory symptoms, irrespective of the underlying virus, COVID-19 or influenza or etc. The recommendation for those with respiratory symptoms, not just those with COVID-19, is to be excluded until fever-free for 24 hours without the use of fever-reducing medication and respiratory symptoms are mild and improving. The child illness exclusion criteria for education and care settings document was modified to update the new exclusions, and this does not apply to hospitals or healthcare settings. So it looks like we're moving forward with those isolation guidelines.
Good. Thanks, Krista. Brian Carter, Des Moines County Engineer.
Good morning. Kind of wrapped up our number of bids. We did bid some pile driving kind of work for a contractor last week, so that's for a small bridge in the bottom. So we got bids on that, had 3 bidders, happy to see that. So we'll get in touch with them and figure out some scheduling this summer on that work. We did touch base with the contractors for the 2 ARPA bridges, or for the contractor, I should say, and sounds like they're looking at more like a May or even a June start on those. So I told you maybe that we might see some winter work on one of those, but they have other winter work projects right now that takes priority because they have free winter work on those, and we did not have free winter work. They were gonna get charged working days. So sounds like both of those projects will probably be a late spring, early summer. So we'll, at some point, if I get a better feel, we'll send out letters to some of the residents right there, and I'll obviously keep you guys up to date. But that's timing wise on those bridges, it looks like it's gonna be a little bit. And then the contractor that's gonna do the concrete paving on Golf Course Road Hill isn't sure of their timing yet. So we reached out to them after you guys approved that contract last week, and they're still kind of figuring out their schedule. I think the contractors are still looking for work right now, to be honest with you. I think they're hesitant to commit to stuff because they're still trying to find more jobs, so. But either way, when I have a better idea on timing and all that, certainly we'll get it out for the media and for the public and for you guys, and try to let everybody know that we can. Otherwise, our guys are out, we're just, I guess, doing summer maintenance. I mean, why not, I guess. So the guys are gonna start kind of a regular, more blading pattern, I guess I would say, so. We're actually working on a little bridge clear down the south end of the county with our maintenance crews, so, and we're possibly gonna start up some ditching operations here in the next couple days. So, I guess we're gonna accept the fact that at the moment, it's really mild, and we're gonna get going on some stuff that we wouldn't normally be doing in February.
Was there anything going on Tama Road down through there? Bunch of trucks running down. I had a guy ask me yesterday about that.
Well, there's nothing county related. If they were running yesterday, we were all off work and there was no projects going on, but there's certainly the possibility of a private project or or something like that going on down there. I'm not aware of anything specific, but it
Okay.
wouldn't be anything county related,
Okay,
so.
that gives me an answer.
Concrete trucks or,
Just trucks hauling rock and that.
I would guess somebody's, doing some construction of some type, but I'm not aware. If I find anything, I'll let you know.
Okay. Before we move on, somebody had a birthday yesterday. He said he's been 20 years old for the last 21 years.
Well, you guys really shouldn't have. Is there any cake or anything for me?
Is that right, Colin?
Yeah,
No, it's about Colin. I had to do that 3 times.
Happy birthday,
I appreciate all the county offices taking off from our birthday.
I knew I was celebrating something.
You still got emails, don't
His face does turn overhead, doesn't it?
Think of the YouTube viewership if we sang happy birthday to him right on YouTube.
God, I see we've only got 2 viewers. Our numbers have gone down over. Okay. Correspondence. I have none. Proceed to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable claim in the amount of $837,389.78.
Move to approve.
Second. Sarah?
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Tom Broker?
Yes. We missed stamps.
Oh. You need those?
Time out.
She's new.
Yeah. First day of the job.
You took your birthday off and.
Yeah.
Whole county went to hell.
Short trip.
One thing about it now, he's too old to go out there and cut wood, isn't he?
That's right.
But-
That'll be my excuse now.
What'd you say, this is his 20th anniversary of his 21st birthday?
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay, did we vote on this?
We did.
Okay. Tells you a little about my memory. We have payroll reimbursement claims in the amount of $246.83 and non-cash taxable reimbursement claims in the amount of $8.55. Motion to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Tom Broker?
Yes. DHS must have finally gotten back to us. I see we've got the DHS tax suspension list. These are, the County Board of Supervisors annually send to the Department of Human Services the names of the persons receiving a tax suspension for their annual review to verify the continuing eligibility of each name on the list. And then they sometimes a little tardily return the list to the Board of Supervisors. This is just a suspension, it's not an elimination. When that individual is capable of paying those taxes, or when that property is transferred or sold, then those taxes become due. I move to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Tom Broker?
Yes. We have a resolution 2024-12 for the UD subdivision. I suspect Jared's here about that.
Yeah, this may sound a little bit familiar, although it's been a while. This one was actually approved, it's a minor one-lot subdivision south of Burlington up Summer Street. Basically, all they're doing is, it's almost 2.5 acres, but they're just selling it between neighbors, where there's somebody that owns like a pretty large acreage that includes a pond, and the pond and the area around it would be sold to the neighboring property owner that has a house on, I think it's about 2/3 of an acre. So it would just be enlarging that existing property, but because it's more than double, it qualifies as a subdivision. So when this was originally approved back in summer of 2022, obviously we have a requirement that plats get recorded within 6 months of recording or of approval, but unfortunately there was an issue with the mortgage holder on the 50-acre property that they would not initially sign off on it. So unfortunately it's been well over 6 months since that was done. So in accordance with how we've handled these in the past, we are simply we're offering the existing approved plat and a resolution to affirm approval of that plat in order to go to recording, because we did just recently receive word from the subdivider's attorney that they did get that mortgage holder sign off finally. So it should be ready to go once it's reapproved. So that's all I have on that.
Move it to approve. Second. Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker.
Yes. Thank you, Colin. Colin? I apologize, Jared.
Them two guys look at each other, I don't know if that was so.
Well, I thought maybe it was Jared's birthday too. We have reports. We have the clerk of courts report of fees collected for January 2024. This report will be on file at the auditor's office and available for public review at your convenience. We have minutes for the regular meeting of February 13th, 2024. Motion to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes, please.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
I thought my wife was hollering at me, I was ignoring you.
Any other business?
I had none.
I have none. Future agenda items. Committee reports.
I had a regional utility service systems, and everything's going along pretty good. We had our monthly or our yearly rate changes coming up for starting in July. Everything went up about 3%. And City of Argyle down there, which is their system that was put in, they had a ball field down there about 5 or 6 years ago. And so that association quit paying for everything, you know, for the services. So the county, going that back to the county when they have to pay it, then that makes the county liable for it. Well, the supervisors at that time says, cut them off, take the system down. So they did. They took the pump out and shut it down. Now they want to get that ball association going again. So our meeting last couple times has been set around that City of Argyle. And the association is willing to pay 1 year in advance and pay to have the pump net put back in. So it's gonna cost them $5,000, but they wanna get that ball field back open and get some activities down there for the kids, which I think is a good idea. But So we voted on that, we voted to go ahead and do that. And, Lee County Supervisor was there, he said, he was all for that, but if they didn't pay, then they's gonna have the pump pulled. So that's where we're at on it, so it looks like they're gonna go ahead and do it.
Have nothing to report.
Give me an update on that, so.
You've got that rust board pretty well straightened out, that used to be chair. The worst thing about that board, if I could veer off course for a moment like I do, is that, they had a patent attorney on it once. If anybody ever asks you to join a board or a commission or a committee with a patent attorney on it,
Tell them no.
decline. Out of the blue, he would call you at home or whatever about some, I don't know whether it's him, I think it was patent attorney stuff, so.
Yeah, 'cause you know, when I got on the board, you was there, you had that.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I ended up with it.
I was so
I've been stuck
tickled
with
to
it
see a
for-
new supervisor that we could slide that off on.
So that's what you guys did to me.
Yep.
Appreciate your honesty.
Tom's right, that, yeah.
He was a charmer. I attended the governing board meeting that Ken was talking about for the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa, and besides the discussion of the behavioral health systems. I couldn't make it to the meeting before that, but we do have 2 requests for proposals now for the IRSH, or the Intensive Residential Service Home, needs additional beds. So we've got out a request for proposal like that, and a request for proposal for an ACT, is Assertive Community Treatment. Services here in this region, which I know we've been trying to attract for some time, but Bobby said that there's some optimism this time that somebody's going to step up to.
The hospital's inquired about it, so.
This one?
Yep, so for the ACT team, so, and the new guy, I think his name's John from the hospital.
I can't remember his last name, but might be.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's, during our last CIT meeting, he asked about it, and so we got him some details on it. We'll see what happens from that. But yeah, the ACT team, we have an ACT team over in the Tumwa side of the region, and it'd be nice to have one over here on this side of the region. And then we have an IRSH home here in Burlington, and it'd be nice to have some beds over on the other side of the region for the IRSH home. So we'll see if anybody responds to those, but it sounds like we're getting some interest. I hope they respond.
Yeah, that's, it'd be a nice addition to the mobile crisis services that are available now.
Yeah.
That's all I had. Public input. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, you can email the Board of Supervisors at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. Or you can call 319-753-8203 extension 4. That's 319-753-8203 extension 4. We'll give you a couple minutes to initiate that call or that email. In the meantime, does anybody in attendance have any questions or comments?
I did forget to mention one thing. I ran into a couple of ports and construction guys. That's a construction company doing the Tiger Grant project for the city.
Huh?
I ran into them, I believe it was last Thursday, and they were looking at starting construction back up again today. Not out here, but they had some other stuff going on, but they said they were planning on starting today and hopefully to be completely done in 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, so, I don't know when they'll make it down here. The meetings start back up again this Wednesday, so may have some more information on when they might get down in this direction, but, we plan on wrapping that whole thing up here in the next 6 weeks, so. Here in a few, like I say, I don't know when, but within the 6 weeks, they'll be out front doing the sidewalks on both sides of Main Street here at some point, so.
Okay, well, that's nice to have an end date to look forward to. That.
Obviously, weather pending.
Yeah. We all know how construction works.
Reference the COVID update. wondering if it would be worth the county or acceptable for the county to rescind their past COVID policy.
Did we ever, haven't ever done anything with it?
I don't know, we had talked about that following the CDC guidelines, and I
Yeah.
don't know that that was ever signed off on, and then this one came through, so I don't know if it'd be worthwhile updating the county
I think that we
policy.
still do, I think we had one in place, and I don't think we ever did anything as far as taking it away, and then we just kind of followed the CDC guidelines, so.
Can we just get that rescinded?
Okay.
That may be a resolution for next
Yep,
week.
yep.
Okay.
Every now and then a COVID test pops up and
Yes.
they have questions that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sheriff, good idea. Anybody else?
I had a county engineer mention, and I have not had time to look, it was at the end of last week, and maybe you guys have seen an email that I have not, but supposedly ISAC set something out, that there's a bill being proposed that would supersede any wind turbine siting ordinances that counties have already passed. I don't know this to be a fact,
I saw
because this
something
is
to that effect.
hearsay.
Yeah.
And I haven't had time, so I guess I wanted to mention that just because I haven't had time to chase it, and we haven't seen the email come through our office. So I guess I thought I'd throw that out there.
I've heard rumors of something like that would be coming down the pike here one of these years, so.
Whether they're just gonna have statewide.
Right,
signing
right,
requirements.
yeah, it seems to be kinda consistent with some of the legislative priorities on that in recent years, but we'll see. Keep an eye on it.
Well, the current legislature seems to, even though they like to say local control, seem to be passing laws and suggesting laws that go completely counter to that, so I don't imagine that this is a good thing in general for counties that had reasons behind what they did.
Right.
So,
I
I
totally
just-
agree. There's been zoning related things that I would say was similar to that in terms of reducing local control rather than bolstering it, so.
Yep, so I don't know, wanted to mention it in case you guys see that. I'd like to get my eyes on it if there's something out there.
I haven't seen, but I did read or hear something that they were looking at something,
Okay,
those requirements, so.
same rumor then, so.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? No? What?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, well, we shot our 2 minutes to hell, so with an aye, we're adjourned.
Aye.
Aye. And we have a work session with the department heads regarding workman's compensation following the meeting in about 5 minutes or so. with the department heads regarding workman's compensation. So, we on?
We are on.
Okay. We're good to go, and I will turn the floor over to Sarah.
So there has been, I think a lot of confusion with workman's comp. So I decided to have a work session just to kind of explain things a little further. With our new handbook, workman's comp pays 64, 66%. That is non-taxed. The insurance company sends the employee the check. They have the option, we do not have to make them, but they have the option to use the other 34% as sick leave, vacation, whatever kind of leave that they want to use. However, anytime anyone goes off on work comp, Sue needs to know right away as well so that we can adjust payroll accordingly. They have to sign a waiver that explains how they would like us to pay their deductions. Regardless of whether they're getting a check from work comp or not, we still have deductions that we have to pay for every pay period, whether it be their insurance, their IPERS, whatever. So we need to know how they want to pay that. They have the option for the county to cover that, and then they can reimburse the county once they are back to work, or they can come in and pay out of pocket, or if they are using the other 34% as vacation, sick leave, or whatnot, then it comes out of that. But that other 34% will be taxed. But the check that they receive from work comp, they will keep that. It used to be that they would bring that check in, turn it over to us, and we would just keep paying them as normal. But that's no longer the case. With the sick leave policy, you do lose accrual every pay period if you use more than a day's worth of sick leave, and that will not change either. So they will lose their accrual when they're off, just as normal.
If they use more than 8 hours.
Yes. Or 7.5, whatever their work day is, it's one day, so if they're a 7.5 hour person, it's
Oh, okay,
7.5.
yeah.
They're an 8 hour, it's 8. If they're a 10 hour, it's 10, but whatever their one day is. But we wanted to kind of clear up some of that confusion. Does anyone have any questions regarding the process?
So if they say they're going for a doctor's appointment,
Yes.
and it's a half day, they're leaving at noon, and it'll be the rest of the day.
Yep.
Do we need to do something with that, or we just leave them on the regular?
Nope, so they'd still use their sick time, or if they don't have any sick time to use, it's still, as long as they're covered under work comp, then you just put it in as work comp. It's the extensive, so if they have to be off for longer than a week or longer, an extensive period of time to where we have to know what to do with their payroll because they're not getting paid that full pay period, then that's when we need to know, because they're gonna have to sign whether they want us to take those deductions out or whether they're gonna come in and pay cash for them, or whether they're gonna use their sick time to cover that.
So we have someone, say someone leaves at 12 o'clock, half day, they've worked a half a day.
Yep.
So they would put from noon to 4 sick time?
Yes, and if they don't have sick time, if they wanna use vacation or whatever, they have that option as well,
Okay.
so. Yes.
Any issues like for light duty? If they're,
Well, if they're-
so if they're working,
If they're on light duty, they'll still be working, so they'd still be getting a paycheck of some sort. So, as long as they're here and getting pay, then, still communicate with her so she's aware of what's going on. But, like I said, if they aren't getting a paycheck because they're actually off for an extensive period of time, then we have to figure out how their deductions and everything are gonna be paid, and what 34% they'll be using versus the 66 they'll be getting from insurance. So.
How does that affect county benefits, health insurance and whatnot?
Well, and it just depends on what they're off for. They still will be getting benefits as long as they're paying into them. As far as their work comp benefits go on what they receive that's with work comp's decisions. But as long as they're paying their benefits.
So how about the county's portion of that?
Oh, we still pay our portion as
So
normal.
health insurance, all
So-
that remains the same?
Yes. But it's their portion that they have to pay in every pay period that we have to figure out how they're gonna pay that portion in.
Got it.
And the county will cover that as long as they sign something stating that they'll pay the county back for it. so that way they can still continue to have it as normal.
What do you mean by accrual?
So you accrue your sick leave every pay period.
Okay.
So whether it's 5 hours or 8 hours, you accrue that every pay period. But if you use over a day of sick leave every pay period, you do not accrue that pay period. So,
But everybody accrues the same amount of sick time, correct?
no.
Well, I should say most.
No.
I just assumed
I wish it was
everybody
that
accrued-
easy, but no.
I thought for sick time, everybody accrued the 5.75.
It's
If you're
different per
7.5
union.
hours.
If you're, so, sorry, me, us, majority. Not your
Not-
department,
Not them.
not your department, not your.
them, Not them.
So-
So you're saying-
Doesn't seem like you're the majority.
So everybody didn't mean everybody.
It meant
Me and you,
our
yes.
people.
Not me and you even, too.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
But that's, I
And
think,
then
where it
it's
gets so
for-
complicated is that people have that mindset of everybody has the same thing. It is not. There's 4 different union contracts, there's thousands of different scenarios for each department. So it gets real confusing when we don't know what's going on and somebody's off and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, hey, they're off on work comp and we have no idea, so.
And it is still after, sorry, Chris, after 3 days, we're supposed to report. That's what we've been doing. That's still consistent with the county, right?
Yeah, everybody's pretty good about knowing what's going on with their employees, so, but yeah, after 3 days, if we can find out that they're off or have been off or what's going on, that's helpful.
So it's kind of long, my question is, so on the work comp situation, who's deciding how long the leave is? Is
Well,
that
the
coming
doctor-
from a doctor?
Yeah,
or-
if they're on work comp, the doctor's telling them when they have to be off or what's going on, so that's the doctor's decision.
Sure.
So,
When it comes to light duty though, that's your
That's-
decision as department head.
yes.
Right.
That was my question, so do we, if we don't have a position that would meet the light duty, do we have to create a position or,
Mm-mm.
okay,
But, so if the doctor says light duty, would you say that's our
If the
discretion?
doctor offers light duty, if the doctor says they're off work,
Then
they're
we
off work.
determine if
they
Yes,
have
then
to.
most times what the doctor will do is say, like in our situation, limit of lifting 10 pounds with one arm and whatever, and if we can't comply with that, which is most of the time, then we'll say no, and they stay home on workers' comp. If we can accommodate it, then we accommodate it. Just depends on, like for us, they gotta be able to get in and out of a truck and be in a truck, I mean, at least at a minimum to do something, so.
So you don't.
Whereas at an office,
No,
you know, at
you
desk,
don't.
you could probably do some of those things.
Statistically, it's in
So
the
just don't
county's
have a
interest to
position.
accommodate as often as you can, but it's also, well, my experience is if I try to bend over backwards to accommodate, the guy comes back, and then it becomes babysitting because they don't wanna honor their restrictions because they're watching everybody else around them do their duties.
Right.
So you can put a person in a worse spot by bringing them back just to play the stat game of getting somebody back to work, so you gotta really balance that.
Any other questions?
So the doctor could be their doctor, it doesn't have to be our specified doctor for workman's comp.
Well, they'll go through the work comp with Angie Vaughn.
Okay,
Any department head that reports work comp goes through her, so it all flows through that.
yeah.
And I apologize, I'm sure you went over all this at the beginning.
No, you're
but
fine.
When does, you said report like after 3 days, but when does work comp start, or who decides they're on?
Well, Angie will
Or
take,
Angie will,
she'll
okay.
take care of all of that side of it. My biggest thing is if you know that your employee's off on work comp and you know ahead of time they're gonna be having surgery, or that they're gonna be off for an extensive period of time, then give Sue a heads up so that way she knows to watch through payroll in case it doesn't get put in right or something, so she knows to flag it as work comp. Because then we can know how they're gonna pay their deductions, and we have to talk to the employee and figure that whole side out. If they wanna use their sick leave, because they don't have to, they're not required to. They can take their 66% from insurance and not use any leave. But if they want their 100% paycheck, then they're gonna have to use something.
And they just take the day if they want to supplement it, if that
Yep.
doesn't make up the whole 34%.
Any other questions? Is it pretty self-explanatory?
Yeah, anyway, if it makes you feel any better, I've only been here 13 years and I have not figured out the schedule of the jail and the sheriff's office.
Well, I knew vacation was different, I guess, and I never had a reason, or, looked into it, so. But thanks, Tom, that makes me feel.
No, I mean, how many hours a day did they work and what shifts they work in those two departments, or that department, that's
Well, and how
that
many
escapes
hours
me.
that they actually work versus what we account for with payroll to even things out, to make things even.
Yes.
That
Because
just
it's
has to
a
be
rotation.
difficult.
Yes, yeah, so that's, well, my understanding.
From a procedural perspective, it's like, I'm all for like procedures, so if somebody gets hurt at work,
Uh-huh.
and it's something more than like, I just sliced my finger open and I'll get it ripped up and I'll be back tomorrow, but if it's something that is legit, they're probably gonna miss multiple days, we could hold Angie and do that whole filing side of things, but then the
Yep.
next call probably needs to be to Sue.
Correct.
To
Yep.
get that, cause they're gonna need.
Cause Angie's good about getting us the incident reports and all of that, but she doesn't always tell us, hey, they're gonna be off for an extensive period of time.
Right.
And she will eventually, but then by the time she usually gets to us with that time, then they've been off for a week and we haven't had any idea, so.
Yeah.
Well, does some of that fall back though on them?
Well, yeah, but it is
Employer,
kind of the
employee.
employee and department head's responsibility as well to let us know what's going on.
I don't think work comp, the reimbursement for lost time kicks in until 3 days. So I think,
Yes.
so the first
So-
3 days would be sick leave, because that doesn't, by statute, that doesn't kick in until after 3 days.
Correct. So really, it's just if they're gonna be off for a while. And luckily, we don't have a lot of that, but there
Our
are
biggest-
times where it does, and
Our biggest issue, I don't know if you guys run into this as much, but is getting the guys to actually do it. Cause they hate the workers' comp doctors, at least I can only speak for my facility. They don't like not going to their own doctor.
They're
And
stubborn.
they don't think they're hurt that bad and everything else. And we've had at least 2 situations that turned into surgery because, and we made them go, but they didn't wanna go. And it's getting harder and harder with workers' comp. If you drag your feet, they're more and more likely to suggest that they're gonna reject it because you didn't jump into it right away. So I pound on this forever and ever and ever, and I'm still having to. Like,
Right.
we do an internal report and we report it to Angie and all this sort of stuff, but there's still times where something might happen on a Friday and nobody knows about it. And then on Monday, one of the superintendents says, hey, so-and-so's got a sore shoulder, and then well, we need to do a report, well, they don't wanna do that, so sometimes you gotta drag them kicking and screaming more often than not, because they just avoid it, they don't wanna do it.
It's past that 3 days, how does FMLA work into that part of it, or does it at all?
if it's work comp, then FMLA will not be involved in it. Work comp takes over for that. Anything else? It's really all I wanted to explain was just the process and make sure we know how they wanna do their deductions and things like that, so. But yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Have a good
Saying
Tuesday.
that right by my phone, I could hold on and off. Where I know.